afternoon and welcome to Belmore Sports Ground as round one continues. Two teams looking to build off last season and get even higher up the table. They'll battle it out at a picturesque setting here at Belmore Sports Ground. Perfect conditions for football with the temperature dropping just slightly before kickoff. Pitch is looking fantastic as well, as good as I've seen it here in some time. It should be set for a good one for your Saturday afternoon. Sydney Olympic, they finished 8th last season and will be keen to avoid 3 seasons without finals. Meanwhile, St George FC finished 12th on their return to the top flight and might have their sights set on an upper table finish, maybe even sneaking into the finals themselves. It's Sydney Olympic hosting St George FC live on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. Will Constantinides here for you, and it's set to be a good one. This is a very intriguing clash between two very historic teams that have seen battle in the NSL before. Last season, St George got the better of Olympic on the 2 occasions they met and will be keen to make it 3 wins in a row. Let's take you through the team news, starting first with Olympic, and they made plenty of big splashes in the off-season. Dylan Ruiz-Diaz, Thomas Whiffen, Seth Clark, Cyrus Demi, Jack Gibson, Cotter O'Toole, Josh Hong, Nathaniel Hancock, Jack Armson and Donnie Girdich are all new signings to the club this season. A clear statement that missing the finals for 2 years in a row wasn't good enough. They'll be keen to get back into the top 6. And Labino Halidi has a big task on his hands of getting that new blood into his team pumping, hoping they can beat a bit of a bogey side for them last year. Their full lineup goes like this for Sydney Olympic. In goal, number 1, Jack Gibson. Number 3 is Cotter O'Toole. 5 is Ziggy Gordon. 8, Sam McElhadden. 9, Cyrus Demi. 10, Jack Armson. 11, Adam Parkhouse. 12, Zach Zoricic. 14, Seth Clark. 18 is Ten Qual, and rounding out the squad is number 28, Donnie Girdich. As for St George, they've made a handful of new additions themselves, bringing in plenty of youth to try and help build this team into the future. The likes of Chan Yel Chan and Sunday Yona in particular, as well as new youngsters Jacob Fakuri and Trelawney Brown. Those two won't be in action though today due to injury, but they've signed from the Bulls Academy and Rockdale respectively. Aside from the youth, St George have added clear NPL experience in the attack with Bay Antonio. The former Rockdale number 9 comes with a clear track record, and if he can get firing, that'll go a long way to St George's success this season. Their full lineup goes like this. They're led by Troy Danaskos, picked up 7 goals from the back last season for them. 4 is Mark Rodich, 5 Nicholas Calageru, 6 Pat O'Shea, 8 is Evan Suris, 9 is Chan Yel Chan, 10 Jaden Casella, 14 is Justin Poon, 15, Bay Antonio, 17 is Thomas Brown, and in goal is number 99, Mackenzie Siren. And with all that out of the way, the only thing that remains is for Sydney Olympic to get us underway with their new man in the number 10 jersey, Jack Armson, and he does so. And that's season kicked off at Belmore Sports Ground. What will we be set in for here this afternoon? We've already had 2 great games. Earlier today it was the Wanderers and Mount Druitt over at Wanderers Football Park. That one just finished before this one. And yesterday it was a goal fest out at Cromer Park for Manly United, who defeated the Mariners by 5 goals to 0. And as mentioned, it's cooled down quite a bit. It was 30 degrees here when I arrived around 3:30, 4 o'clock, but since then the clouds have come over, the wind has picked up a bit and made it nice and cool down there at pitchside, that's for sure. And Belmore's known for, pitch does get used quite a bit during the season. They do share it with the Bulldogs, the Rugby League, their junior grades as well. As Olympic try and make their way into the final third. It's cleared though, up towards Yel Chan, who has a nice turn of speed here to get around the defence. Can St George make way in transition? Antonio has spotted the overlap here of Troy Danaskos, who floats one into the back post. There's a collision. Antonio puts it in. It has a bit called for a foul. It has. And St George are protesting here. But I think there was a collision midway through, and Antonio almost announced himself to the St George fans in spectacular fashion. I think it was Justin Poon who collided with Jack Gibson in goal, as Siren has to clear that for himself. And taking a look on the replay, it was Justin Poon. And well, that's a big warning shot fired early by the visitors. And already you can see where St. George will be so effective. As Danaskos launches forward, uses Yelchan in support. They try to play the 1-2. It doesn't work on that occasion, but it's still with Yelchan. Battling away in midfield. Suris is there to help him. He collides with Gordon, and Yelchan has picked up the foul here. And this is prime position for a free kick. St. George are off to a hot start. It's barely been 2 minutes here at Belmore. You can see that 20-metre marking from the rugby league pitch. "20 metres out from goal, directly in line with that near post." Looks like Casella is the man over this one. And that number 10 jersey for St. George this season. He made a mid-season switch to them from the team he's playing against today, Olympic. Here goes Casella with the free kick, and it's a great one for Casella. Scored against Olympic last season. He played for Olympic last season, and he's done it to them again for St. George. The perfect start for the visitors. And it's their number 10, Jaden Casella. A free kick that was simply too good to pass up. With his left foot, he put it over the wall into the side netting. And St. George have come alive here in round one. And it's hard to say. Usually when a team piles on so much pressure, you say that, well, that was coming, but it's barely been 3 minutes. They've had a goal disallowed due to a foul in build-up. And they've already put one in the back of the net, St. George. And for Sydney Olympic, the fans who have shown out in good numbers here today, it must be said, might be a little bit worried that the season will continue along the same lines it did last year, where they were dropping points very inconsistent despite all the big names they had in their squad. As Gurditch and Yelchan battle away over at the back, and Yelchan has pinched it off the Olympic defence. He's aided by Bay Antonio. And the speed of this St. George transition is so impressive as Antonio just lashes out there at Ziggy Gordon. And this size of the pitch certainly plays into the hands of St. George. It must be said, though, there's plenty of open space, especially out wide. There's Yelchan getting tangled up over there with Gurditch. Casella had just the 3 goals for St. George last season, actually, after his mid-season switch from Olympic. Before that, he was at Rockdale. And one of those 3 goals for St. George was against Olympic back in round 28, that 3-0 win, which happened right here at Belmore. Here goes Parkhouse now. This is looking promising for Olympic, and they've equalised right away. Exactly what they would have wanted. And it's their new signing as well, Seth Clark. Fresh from making way across from the Northern New South Wales comp. He joined from the Edgeworth Eagles, and he's got an Olympic right back on level terms. It was a beautiful ball across from Adam Parkhouse. St. George were cut apart in the middle. And Clark made no mistake with the finish as he scores on his debut. A very fast start to proceedings here at Belmore. It's been just 6 or 7 minutes by my count, and we've had 2 goals already. There's great attacking play by Olympic down that left-hand side. Adam Parkhouse doing what he has done for so many years now at Olympic, which is bursting down that left-hand side. And they were just caught with their defensive line there. Fabian Michelli won't be happy with that organisation at the back. Just caught a little bit too high off the line, and the pass was well picked in midfield by Connor O'Toole to Adam Parkhouse. And from there, Seth Clark did the rest. The Northern New South Wales NPL Player of the Year. He was the Players' Player as well. He's come off a fantastic season, and Olympic have done well to sign him. It's a pathway that many have followed from the Northern New South Wales NPL. Make the trip down south. And so far, Seth Clark is doing that with plenty of success. As Yeo Chan muscles with Ziggy Gordon, the youngster, not afraid to go with the veteran. Yeo Chan himself was also in the Northern New South Wales NPL not too long ago, back in 2022 for Newcastle Olympic. And so that'll just settle the nerves a little bit around Belmore Sports Ground. Now things can hopefully settle down a bit into a more natural rhythm rather than the frantic start we've seen so far. Crossfield switches aimed for Yeo Chan, but it just skips away on this natural grass. And I spoke to new St. George coach Fabian Michelli before the game. He was very confident with how his side had started pre-season. Felt that they were flying under the radar a little bit after their 12th place finish last year. Feels they can push up a bit higher. And they look good in pre-season by his accounts. Said that it was all about the mentality coming into round one. The footballing aspect is important, but in round one these games tend to be very gritty affairs. You can play all the pre-season that you want, but when the lights start shining in round one, that's when things can get a bit tricky. Here's Danaskos now. Ball aimed towards the penalty spot. It's dealt with well by Gurditch. As Qual hooks it clear. This will be easily dealt with at the back by Kalajeru, and now here is Siren. Clearance only as far as Seth Clark. Qual continues his work at the base of midfield. We saw him play in midfield a couple times last season. He was coming into the squad as a defender when he was at the Wanderers Academy. Here's another new signing, Cyrus Demi. Loses the ball on that occasion, was just outnumbered. And Casella is intercepted in midfield, and he can combine with Yeo Chan. Again, St. George race away. And Zach Zoricic covers well. Zoricic looking for a bit of support. There's Jack Armson. Gives it away that time, though, as Ziggy Gordon goes rushing through Yeo Chan and wins the header cleanly. Yeo Chan continues his press. He's been just about everywhere. Anytime that ball has gone towards the Olympic backline, he's right on them there to press. Danaskos taking a more inverted position, allowing Poon to sit out wide. Here goes Suris, driving forward in midfield. Pass by Danaskos is picked off, though, and Olympic might have ideas of countering on their own, but St. George are doing well to delay any quick progress. This time they find Demi, though. It's a very fast start. It's very nip and tuck in midfield. Not a lot of extended controlled possession between either of these two teams. Both starting out of the gates fast. Antonio. Now St. George can just put their foot on the ball and keep things under control for a bit. Here's Thomas Brown. Olympic almost won it back, still with Antonio and St. George. Olympic hound numbers in midfield. Suris can't take it away from Gurditch though. Here's Clark again. Zoricic tries to get a wide pass of Yelchan and does, and he's won himself a foul there, Zoricic. And now there's a bit of push and shove here. Clark and Yelchan came together initially. I don't think Yelchan was too happy with the call, it seemed. He had eyes for Zoricic straight away, and now there's a bit of sorting out to do here. Referee today, Mujtaba Ibrahimi. And Yelchan seems to have a bit of a wry smile on his face about it, but these two teams, as mentioned, there's a bit of a track record between them. Olympic were bested by St. George on both occasions last season in round 28. St. George beat them 3 goals to nil here at Belmore. Danaskos, Poon and Casella on the score sheet. One of those 3 has already scored. And then back in round 13, St. George, in their home game, defeated Olympic 2-1 with Grozos and Suris, who picked up the 86-minute winner. So far, though, I'd maybe give the slight edge to St. George in terms of their dominance on the ball. It's a very even game, though. The scoreline reflects that, and it reflects how open it's been with a goal each. 10 Kuala now. Danaskos went to ground. Poon just couldn't keep that in. Assistant on the near side picking that one up. Our assistant referees for today, Blake Sanchez Cruz and Nicholas Farner. Zoricic. And Olympic have height in the box. They can aim for it. It's flicked on here, back towards Parkhouse. Can Armstead pounce on it? He does. And Olympic fans thought it was in, but only ruffled the side netting there. The Siren got an important touch on it. And watch out for those long throws from Olympic. Zach Zoricic had plenty of targets to aim for. Tank Qual, Cyrus Demi were the ones on that occasion. Parkhouse was drifting in, looking for the second ball. And something from the training park here as O'Toole corner ball back in, and it's into the grateful arms of Mackenzie Siren. Mid-season switch from Marconi. Of course, Daniel Axford as well, who's on the bench for St. George today, also played plenty of starting minutes last season. So St. George will try and make their way back down. O'Toole heads it back over. Yelchan has gotten the other side of Gurditch here, but Gordon's there to clean things up from an Olympic perspective. Gibson launches wide and high towards skipper Parkhouse. Great play in midfield as Clark comes away with it, and that time it's foul on Mark Rodic. Just speaking on some of these new signings for Olympic, plenty of A-League experience. You have Cyrus Demi up top, who played about 26 games for the Brisbane Roar a couple seasons ago. Then you've got Connor O'Toole over at left back in that number 3 jersey, who was at Western United last season in the A-League, played 86 games in the A-League for Western United, Brisbane, Sydney FC and Newcastle. Here's Gordon, nodding it down for Gurditch, the centre-back. Doesn't come there for him. Demi was trying to twist it onto a favourable foot, and Ziggy Gordon turning on his left side. Couldn't keep that one down. Because Ziggy Gordon, another one of the ex-A-League contingent, now into his 3rd season at Olympic. Dylan Ruiz-Diaz as well, who's on the bench. He was a signing that was announced this week. He's on loan from Londrina. in the Brazilian third tier. Fans might remember him from his time at the Mariners in the A-League. As here goes St. George. Poon, can he get the other side of Zoricic? He couldn't, and Zoricic has smartly stayed out of the way. That'll be an Olympic goal kick. You have Jack Gibson as well in goal for Olympic, also ex-A-League of sorts. He was in the Wanderers Academy for some time. He was around the A-League squad too. Given away by St. George. Now, this is a favourable position here for Olympic as Demi maybe just thought McElhatton was a few metres ahead, or was hoping that Armson would make a more darting run across. This front two that Olympic have of Armson and Demi, a very interesting combination to see how the season develops. They're anchored by Teng Kuol and Sam McElhatton. Just behind them in a 4-4-2 type of setup. Compare that to the three-man midfield of St. George FC. They've got Bay Antonio in the 10, playing as a second striker almost. Angelo Souris and Mark Rodic, the base of midfield, and now things have opened up slightly for Olympic, but O'Toole can't make the pass stick. That's a cheap giveaway there. Again by St. George. McElhatton fakes the shot, drops it to Armson, and big save by Siren, and he's done well to quickly get up and keep it out. And Armson made great connection with that one, looking to score on his Olympic debut after fellow new signing Seth Clark has already done the same. And a couple of costly turnovers creeping into St. George's game, and now Danaskos is going to pick up the first booking of St. George's season for a rather needless challenge there on Teng Kuol. Kuol will be treated. A good chance to maybe take a look at the bench for Sydney Olympic for you this afternoon. And plenty of new signings on the bench as well. We spoke about Dylan Ruiz-Diaz already. Also have Thomas Whiffen, who joins from SFC Opava in the Czech second tier. He was previously in Sydney United 58's junior setup back in 2022 before he went overseas. Also have Josh Hong, who joined from Morton City Excelsior. He was a mid-season signing for them across from St. George City FA. Also Michael Vakis, a fan favourite here at Olympic. Ball is headed in, and here goes Ziggy Gordon, cutting it back for Demi, and it's well blocked to deny what would have been a certain goal. And Cyrus Demi was so close there to getting on the score sheet himself. And some last-ditch defending by St. George has prevented them from going 2-1 down here. And Ziggy Gordon with exceptional awareness there to realise that he had the tighter angle. I'm not sure exactly if he meant it, but if he did, he was almost a genius there for setting up Cyrus Demi had it not been blocked. And that's just over Zach Zoricic. And now Olympic really starting to find their footing in this contest. The press is working well, they're forcing errors. And they almost just had a second goal. Gurditch goes safety first. Clears that over onto the hill. So there's Gordon. Once again, as Demi tries to battle with the defence, he couldn't win that time, and now St. George trying to get back to what worked. Yel Chan isn't picked up here by the defence, trying to get it into a shooting angle. Here goes Yel Chan! And it was always rising over the crossbar. He hit it with some power, looking for that top right corner. And Yel Chan was just left in plenty of space in the box there for St. George. He was between Gordon and Gurditch, which is exactly where you want your striker to be. On the shoulders of both defenders and not marked. Zoricic. Looking for that long ball over the top to Ten Kuol. Seems to have taken up a more advanced position in the front line now. Here he is, maybe trying to play a flick on with Demi. Kuol turns. Seen him in this position a couple times. Fakes the cross. Oh, lovely nutmeg by Ten Kuol. Can he create for his team here? And he just couldn't. But Ten Kuol showing why he was one of Olympics' best players, despite a disappointing year last year. Was really good in front of goal, actually. 11 goals, despite playing as a more defensive-minded midfielder. He's so good at set pieces, both in the air and taking them. And there's Connor O'Toole with an in-swinging left-footed delivery now. Onto the 6-yard box and couldn't quite beat the first defender. But Olympic fans have plenty to be optimistic about. The last 20 minutes after they've scored, they've really been controlling things a bit better than they were in the first 5 minutes when they conceded after 3. After one of their ex-players, Jaden Casella, came back to haunt them again. Yel Chan gets past Gordon, and Gordon tried to plead his innocence with the 2 hands up, but and Bay Antonio is protesting with the referee. I'm not sure whether that's about playing advantage or maybe asking for a card on the Olympic defender. Nevertheless, Yel Chan looks very, very bright for St. George this season, a side that found it difficult at times last year to score goals. They had 37 goals scored across their 30 games last season, which put them at 13th in the competition. Their defence was ranked 12th, so slightly better, but still plenty of room for improvement, and new signings will certainly help that. Aided by Casella, who's already been here for 6 months or so after joining mid-season. Then you add Justin Poon on the wing, who is very highly rated by St. George. Fabian Michelli in the NPL New South Wales pre-season preview touting him as maybe one some A-League clubs might be interested in. Here goes Antonio now. Lines up from distance. And didn't he hit that sweetly? I'm not sure Jack Gibson would have got to that one if he put it on target there, the former Rockdale man. And that's what Bay Antonio can give you when he plays just off the striker, just behind Yel Chan, as he did for so many years at Rockdale, behind the likes of Alek Udashevsky. Always a threat to score. Clark tried to creatively keep it in, but couldn't. And so St. George will resume. Now trying to find their way back into this game. We spoke about it just a moment ago, how well Olympic have been doing. And now here's Demi with Armson in support. Parkhouse is on the other side, and that's just a sign of 2 new players not quite on the same wavelength there, Armson and Demi. And that might be something Labano Halidi continue to have to deal with, as Casella has tried to get around the defence, but that one is far too close to Jack Gibson to trouble St. George. Zoricic, him and Clark do well. Armson, quick check of the shoulder and has seen Parkhouse in acres of space. Here comes the underlap from O'Toole. Parkhouse looking for Demi. Olympic cries of handball, but I don't think there was anything doing there. On the hip of the defence, and now Yel Chan, and that's a high shot there from Donny Gurditch, and now he becomes the first Olympic booking of the season. Him and Troy Danaskos for St. George already picking up yellow cards. Just 27 minutes gone here at Belmore Sports Ground. See where St. George are going to trouble teams this season. Giveaways in midfield will be certainly punished by their speed and transition. And Casella, a very, very good creator in the NPL. He's so good at picking passes for his teammates. Chan Yeo Chan has already shown how disruptive a force he can be up top. Not only with his work when his team has the ball, but off the ball especially. Just under half an hour gone, I've been impressed already by how willing he is to press the opposition. Yeo Chan comes to the team, well travelled at just 23 years of age. He was previously over in the West Australian NPL playing with Armidale. Before that, he was signed to TFA Dubai, an academy type setup over there. And then before that, he was with Newcastle Olympic in Northern New South Wales NPL. So he's travelled to Newcastle, Dubai, and Armidale in Perth. And now he's come back home to Sydney to play for St. George. It's interesting the setup that St. George do have with this rotating front three. You can see Yel Chan just hovering around the left side. He's come out to left wing, allowing Justin Poon, the previous left winger, to drift centrally. Those two have swapped mostly throughout the game. Casella, who's over at right wing, has stayed there almost exclusively as Rodic clatters into McElhadden, and now Olympic. It's a straight 4v4 here. That's a fantastic challenge. Oh no, it isn't there by Antonio. I thought he got enough of the ball, but the referee a lot closer than we are. And McElhadden is again pleading for a card on the challenge that he felt. It's no sitting back here in round one. You think players might take it easy, maybe try and pace themselves and settle into the season? Not at all. Players throwing themselves into each other here. And comes a set piece. Armson. Short ball into O'Toole. Demi wasn't offside. He links up with Qual, who shoots himself. That one's deflected, and it's going to just skim. And the spin of the ball will slow it down enough for Mackenzie Siren to keep it in. Olympic throw. Yel Chan just unable to wrap his right foot around it. With 15 minutes to go here in the first half, it's been a very exciting start. Usually round ones tend to be fairly low quality in terms of the football, and usually low pace is still in the summer months and teams still getting that match fitness, but this has felt well and truly like we're in the middle of the season. How fast the game has been. 2 quick goals to start, which might have helped open things up. Olympic have a mixed record at Belmore last season. 4 wins, 2 draws and 3 losses. They'll be looking to try and make it a fortress once again. That'll be key if they're to get back into the finals. The Premier's back in 2022 and haven't seen finals football since then. They'll be keen to avoid an unwanted record when it comes to missing finals. We'll talk more about that later in the piece. Meanwhile, St. George looking to try and play through the air as Suris nips it off the feet of Qual. Still bouncing around, and Zoricic launches it up towards Demi. McElhatton now brings it on the ground for Olympic. Here he is again, Sam McElhatton. McElhatton, great pass and a great touch there by Zoricic. Can he get around Danaskos, who is on a card? It is important to consider. St. George captain has to clear. It's only as far as Armson. Parkhouse now on the right side. Olympic deal with it this time. Sorry, St. George rather. Yelchan might have just handled that slightly. He has. Referee just calling for a bit of calm here. You can sense temperature is slightly rising in terms of the spiciness of the contest. The actual temperature is only dropping as the wind continues and that sun makes its way down. McElhatton. Keeper's come a long way off his line, but he was exactly where he needed to be. And that'll be catching practice there for Mackenzie Siren. Just speaking about Olympics' unwanted record, 2023, which was a couple seasons ago now, was their first time outside the top 6 since 2013. And they've spent 2 consecutive seasons outside the top 6. The last time that happened was in 2009, 2010. That was back in a 12-team competition where they finished 11th and 8th. Here is Zach Zoricic looking to go at his man. Danaskos does well, the veteran. It was so important to this team last season. Troy Danaskos, his 3rd season at the club after joining from crosstown rivals St. George City. Scored 7 goals for them, did Danaskos. Was amongst their top scorers despite playing mostly left wing back. You'll see him invert into midfield sometimes as well. As O'Toole, another corner from this position. Into a similar position as the last one. St. George can't quite clear their lines. Here goes Armson. And that'll sail away for a goal kick. Spoken about how Olympic have gone 2 seasons without finals for the first time in 14 years. And the last time, the only ever time, they've gone 3 seasons without making the finals in NPL competition was in the founding 3 years of the competition in 04, 05, 06 and 07. Back when they were still transitioning from being an NSL club. And now another transition of sorts awaits as they're one of the foundation 2nd division clubs, which will take place after the NPL season. They almost give it away cheaply again. You can sense a bit of that rustiness of the season with both teams coughing up possession at the back at times. Here's Gordon. Now it's with Zoricic. Clark. Back they go to Gibson. Armson drops deep into midfield. Now he finds Parkhouse. Was looking for McElhatton, but again it's broken up. Here is Yel Chan into the box, but he's offside. And as predicted, things have slowed down a little bit in the second half after a very fast start. If you joined us late, we had 2 goals in the first 10 minutes. First 7 minutes, actually. One for Jaden Casella and St. George off a well-struck free kick 3 minutes in. And then Seth Clark equalised mere minutes later. And it's the debutant adding a goal to put himself onside with the Sydney Olympic fans. They're a fan base that has certainly high expectations, and they have every right to do so with the incoming signings this season, with the second division on the horizon as well. And combine that with the fact they've missed finals the last 2 years. It really is finals or bust at minimum for Olympic this season. Here's Clark trying to cut inside onto his left. He was eyeing up a pass to Armson, and Rodic was there to intercept. As mentioned, Armson, the former Apia man, a very eye-catching signing from Inner West rivals, Apia Leichhardt. Played so well for them for a couple of years, was part of their premiership winning team in 2023. As Parkhouse delivers, there is Armson at the back post. It won't quite get to him though, as he has to pick up the scraps, and they recycle possession. Demi tries to fashion a shooting angle, looking to turn a couple of defenders. Olympic stay with it though. Here is Parkhouse on the right side now. There is Demi back stick, and he was a bit too eager. You can see 2 hands out there with the push on Calageru. Calageru, another in his 3rd season at St. George, after, again, like Troy Danaskos, joining from St. George City. One of the great rivalries we have in this competition. St. George City FA versus St. George FC. These 2 clubs, not really a local derby. They've got plenty of history between them. They've played some high-profile matches over the years, especially back in the NSL days. We'll talk about those. Ball goes out. Especially, it was good to see Olympic actually posted on their socials this week about the 1989 preliminary final, where they defeated St. George back in the NSL en route to the 1989 NSL Grand Final. Become NSL champions a year later in 1990. NSL champions in 2001-2002 season as well, and St. George, of course, one-time NSL champions in their own right back in 1983. As Yel Chan tries to muscle his way through, and you just see Gurditch and Gordon did well to shut the door and not allow him to get between them there. Yel Chan will certainly cause problems for defences this season. Zoricic just lost it momentarily, and the numbers of St. George prevail as Antonio flicks it around the corner, and now the counter can start for the visitors. Danaskos with Yel Chan. Great pass forward for Poon. Can he find the target? Cutting it back for Yel Chan. Shooting on goal. And deflected wide. And that was a fantastic counter-attack there by St. George. Poon could have arguably had a shot himself there, but he knew he was on a tight angle. And recognising Yel Chan was making the run towards the penalty spot. Was asking a lot of Yel Chan to get to that ball, but still did well. Had it not been through deflection, would have at least tested the keeper. And now Casella on the score sheet. Can he turn provider? They crowd the keeper. As Gordon clears, comes back out into the mix, it goes once more. Danaskos strikes. It's still pinballing around the box. Yeo Chan. There's two Olympic defenders to try and get past, but has to settle for the corner. And now with just a couple minutes to go in the first half, it's St. George who will try and score just before the break to restore their lead. And they scored 3 minutes into the game. Can they score 3 before halftime? There's a bit of sorting out to do here. Antonio and Zach Zoricic are getting tangled up in the 6-yard box. In comes the corner. Again, it's right towards the keeper. There's a maul in the area, and Gibson came looking for it. He didn't find much. And it would have been grateful to see it go wide there, as St. George almost made great work from that set piece. It was Tom Brown lurking at the back post. Clearly something that Fabian Michelli has identified there to crowd the former Wanderers keeper. That time it almost worked. He came rushing out, stuck in no man's land. Driven goal kick, and St. George almost run away with it down the other end. Armstrong couldn't quite reach it with that sliding tackle from Calageru. That'll be a drop ball. Referee getting in the way there. Brief break in play. We might just take this moment to run you through some scores around the grounds. Of course, Western Sydney Wanderers and Mount Druitt, that ended 1-1 just before this game kicked off. At Adensa Park, it's Sydney United 0, Sutherland 1. And over at the Arctic Circle with Spirit and Sydney FC, Spirit have an early 1-0 lead. Of course, still to come, Apia, Leichhardt and Wollongong at 6 o'clock, and then after this game finishes, you have the match of the round, Marconi and Blacktown at 7 p.m, as well as Rockdale Illingdon and St. George City. Still 1-1 here. It was, as mentioned, a very fast start. It slowed down a little bit, but still been a very good contest by round 1 standards. Now with the referee's discretion, just over 45 minutes gone now. Did have a couple of stoppages of sorts with the goals, and Tank Wall's knock, he was down for a little bit. No fourth official on deck this afternoon. Clark gets past Danaskos, leaves him trailing. Decides to cut back onto his left foot, and now that one bobbles, but it's easily claimed there by Siren. Time for another attack here for St. George. Poon now on the right side. Him and Casella have swapped. Couldn't link with Yeo Chan as Antonio comes rushing in to try and intercept, but here's Armson, nutmegs his defender, and now Olympic. Maybe it's their chance here. Tenkwall. Parkhouse to his left, Armson to his right. Takes the latter option. And Armson goes down here. Half-hearted shouts for a penalty, but they're easily waved away there by the official. Most of those were coming from the stands. Great first touch by Parkhouse to keep the attack moving. And likely be the last chance of the first half here for Olympic. It'll be a corner. And Halidi is protesting with the official on the near side here about that one. Just a bit of a talking to here from the official over Jack Armson. Quite sure what that one's about, but in comes the delivery. Armson is driven low and hard. Gordon keeps it back in, does he? And official waves that one away. And that'll be the last action of an entertaining first half here from Belmore. 2 early goals. They cancel each other out. Casella, the former Olympic man, getting on the score sheet again against his former club for St. George. Olympic would then soon equalise through Seth Clark. I've been Will Constantinides with you for the first half. We'll see you back soon on the other side of this short break. Welcome back to Belmore Sports Ground. Ahead of the second half here. Things are evenly weighted at a goal apiece as we head into the second 45 of a very even but very back and forth type of clash. Both teams having their different types of spells in dominance and pressure, but all in all, it's still a goal each. We'll keep an eye on both teams. No changes, it looks like, at the break. Both teams come out unchanged and as they started. St. George will be running left to right in their red and white traditional kit. Olympic in that blue and white Greek flavour. I have to say, Olympic, they've had one of the nicer kits last year. They have one of the nicer kits again this year. That one's launched into the sky. Gerdich heads that away. There is Teng Kwol Armson. He's just come back from an offside position and puts his hands to his head in frustration. Gerdich wins the header well. Here it is with Bay Antonio. He was very lively in his first start for St. George as Yel Chan is dragged to the ground by Gerdich. Casella will try and put this one in from a crossing position. Scored from a free kick earlier. We've already spoken about the substitutes that are available for Olympic. We'll take you through the ones that are on the bench for St. George in just a moment. In the meantime, though, here is the free kick for Casella. Swinging towards the keeper. There is Danaskos. He was offside, though, and he couldn't direct his target on his shot on target in any case, though. St. George give it away soon after the goal kick, but here you go Olympic now. They've gotten the other side of the defence as Teng Kwol. They couldn't get it around the defenders and the keeper, and they did well to track back there, St. George, but again, have to be so careful giving the ball away when Teng Kwol and Cyrus Demi are around. They can get down the other end of the pitch very quickly. Brief chance to run you through the bench of St. George. They have Aidan O'Shea, Thomas Dunn, Sunday Yona, who joined from Hills, Caden Wright, Daniel Axford, and Dominic Offria. O'Toole goes near post, can't beat the first defender, that's Bay Antonio. Clark, his pass is intercepted, but stays out of play. Olympic trying to get back on top and lead for the first time in the contest. After conceding just 3 minutes in. Here is Kwol. Tries to slide it around the corner for Clark. Him and Danaskos have an innocent coming together. Yel Chan gets away from Gerdich, and now he's into open space here. Yel Chan has Poon in support, and McElhatton doing his defensive duties so well and tracking back there on the counter. Antonio and Poon were the intended targets of Yel Chan's ball, and Olympic were pleading that there was a foul on Gerdich from Yel Chan. Link up again. Antonio has done well to find Calageru. It's only out for a corner, but it could have been so much more there for St. George. A golden opportunity as Calageru, the right back, ghosted in behind here, and they're appealing that it should have been a penalty here, St. George. Casella is having an extended chat with the fourth official, is taking a look back at the replay. Difficult to tell from our angle. A couple of players between us and where the ball was. Hard to see whether. We've got the ball there. Connor O'Toole was the man sliding in. In any case, though, Jack Gibson was collected. And now this will have Monty Partington up and about. He looks to be okay there, Jack Gibson. St. George, they've pressured Gibson plenty of times from these types of set pieces, crowded numbers around him. Antonio breaks away from the crowd to run near post. Looks to be a decoy of some sort as one hand goes up from Casella. A bit more depth on this corner. Gordon is up there. It's easily claimed by Gibson. And he'll be grateful to see one into his gloves after facing a very heavy knock. Demi has got back just onside, but second touch let him down. Danaskos. Yelchan. Lovely turn to get past McElhatton. Has numbers streaming with him on the right. Here is Kalajeru bursting forward once more. Kalajeru just couldn't quite connect on that cross, and that's a disappointing end to what looked like a promising attack here for St. George. Another collision in midfield. Challengers flying in. Demi. And Armson. Parkhouse has the speed to get around his defender. Aidan O'Shea on that right back slot for St. George. Plenty of nervous eyes. This one really hanging in the balance at 1-1. It looked like we were set for a goal fest after the first few minutes, but it's really quieted down now. O'Toole sees Demi checking in short. He goes to ground in search of a foul. Nothing coming from the referee. And now St. George can break on the counter. Neil Chan's pass was just behind Poon, and Poon has stayed on side here. The flag has remained down. Poon has to do it all on his own for the time being. Finds Casella. Tries to slalom his way through a couple of Olympic defenders. Poon tracks it down to keep it in. Casella. Ball into the box. It's knocked on there by, I think, Donny Gurditch. Stay with St. George in the throw. Has it stayed in? No, it hasn't. Flag has gone up on the near side. It'll be a goal kick, and Yelchan has gone to ground here. Not sure what's happened here. He was up just a moment ago. He's lying down, sprawled across the ground here. Whether he's been winded, maybe, hard to tell. I'm taking a look back on the replay. Olympic fans certainly aren't pleased with it. Taking a look, the throw came in and no contact in it, it looks like, as he just fell to the ground there. Maybe he picked up a cramp or something. Physio's out, and this will give both coaches a chance to get some instructions, maybe some minor adjustments after the break. Maybe try and retool things a little bit and set course again in the second half. And he looks to be stretching out calves, maybe. Yelchan, and that's textbook round one there, feeling the cramp nice and early with the humid conditions. Some impatient groans from some Olympic supporters wanting to get this one back underway. stretching out the hamstrings now, it looks like. He's not in the right way there, Chan Yel Chan, with that cramp. See if the substitution comes. Looks to be up and about and running again, Chan Yel Chan. Maybe a bit of a pickle juice in a stretch type situation. Nevertheless, play continues. Here's Seth Clark. Cyrus Demi getting tangled up there and a bit too aggressive in the back. There, Cyrus Demi. Found it hard going on his Olympic debut. Has the new number 9 coming across from Olympic FC, where he had a fairly successful Queensland NPL season. 9 goals and 4 assists in 16 appearances, just under a goal contribution a game there. Hasn't had all too many chances on goal. He had a shot blocked, which would have been on target. And a lovely flick, and can he get around his man? Pleading with the referee that he was obstructed there by Calageru, or rather, Calageru. Sydney have reversed things over at the Arctic Circle. They now lead 2-1 after trailing 1-0. Demi tries to get between ball and man and couldn't. Thomas Brown nodding it out over the sideline for a safe throw. Here is Parkhouse. McElhatton and Clark with Quall trying to pick that pass again to Parkhouse. Couldn't work there. St. George's defence has mostly stayed resolute. O'Toole launches it up for Parkhouse. Comes back down with Calageru. Demi turns, quick little step over, gets past his man. Advantage played for Clark. And the man who's already got on the score sheet once couldn't quite do it again. A bit more distance on that one. Very difficult to pick who is more likely to score at this point. Even contest so far in the second half. O'Toole. There's 2 St. George defenders for company. One of them is Bay Antonio, who's on the ball here. That's far too close to Jack Gibson. Not really near enough to any St. George players to cause any trouble. Looks like a pair of substitutes might be coming on here for St. George. So rather Aidan O'Shea looks to be one of them. And Sunday Yona also preparing to make his St. George debut. After signing from Hills, he's been in the A-League academies before, has Sunday Yona. In the meantime, Armson sprays his pass a little too wide for Clark. The attack continues. Nifty footwork by Clark, but he just ran out of room. And that'll mark the end to that attack by St. George. And so here come the substitutes. Receiving final instructions on the bench, and I think Chan Yel Chan might be one coming off, perhaps for Sunday Yona. Demi couldn't quite get on the end of that pass, and now St. George can have thoughts of breaking away. Casella looks up, gets Chan Yel Chan to chase, but along the side, and Yel Chan goes down again. And here comes the substitute now for St. George. And Yel Chan gets up quickly. Wasn't happy with maybe something Gerdich had said. And he's proving to be a real villain amongst the Olympic crowd here. Teng Kuol starts to help him out, stretch out that cramp a little bit. And Lavino Halidi just asking for the substitution to quickly get processed. And Yel Chan looks to maybe try and slowly roll his way off. He's being asked to get up, and it's a rather comical scene here at Belmore. And now he's scooted his way off the pitch, and now the substitutions can take place. So Sunday Yona comes on, as does Aidan O'Shea. And looks like a bit of a reshuffle is coming here. Casella goes to the top of the attack. Yona goes across the right wing. We'll see if those two rotate like Yel Chan did with some of the others. And Aidan O'Shea goes on in midfield in place of Evan Souris. So plenty of like-for-like swaps there. Some fresh legs coming on, and certainly much needed ones in the case of Yel Chan. And now the challenges are flying in. That one from Antonio onto Parkhouse. And now Yel Chan makes his way across the Olympic bench. Will no doubt cop some rather unfriendly stares. Hopefully it's just a cramp. He's looked pretty good in his NPL first grade debut for St. George. Perhaps no surprise he's gone down early to cramp with how hard he was running in the first half. Seemed to be a constant pest on the Olympic backline. Fabian Michelli has plenty to be optimistic about with his new number 9. It's plenty of pressure. Taking that mantle. Olympic get play underway quickly once again. Just over an hour gone. We still wait that second goal as Caligiero launches one down the sideline. Casella is there. O'Toole got up for it though, and Casella has to walk back basically to the spot where he took the first throw from. Here is Antonio, back to Caligiero. Casella has to get something to chase. Doesn't have quite as much pace as Yel Chan did, but almost got there. As that went out for a goal kick, Poon overran the cross in any case. Gurditch and Gordon, two former Wanderers. Didn't play at the same time for the Wanderers though. Gurditch more recently. The Marco Rudan. Gordon back playing for Carl Robinson. And Cyrus Demi can turn, has options wherever he looks, decides to go himself. Still Cyrus Demi. The shot was rather tame in the end, and that will be easily taken by Siren. And now another man is down here for St. George. This time it's Mark Rodich. Another substitution. The third of the game could be coming for St. George. Olympic still yet to go to their bench. Lavino Halidi liking the look of what he's seeing out there for now. And some more impatient groans coming from the grandstand here at Belmore. Right, it just seems to be testing it out, whether or not he's all right to continue. So there'll be a man coming on in any case. Might have to survive for the next couple minutes or so here until that substitution is ready. Back goes Rodic. Seems to have shaken off that cramp, and now another St. George player is down, and this will continue to frustrate Olympic supporters and Olympic players. That one a bit more of a clear-cut head knock on Casella. Can't be too many complaints about that. In any case, the former Olympic man and the man on the score sheet for St. George is back up fairly quickly. And so, substitution is ready. It'll be Thomas Dunn. Any guesses? It'll be Rodic coming off. No, it isn't. Rodic is staying out there. He was the man with the cramp. It's actually Justin Poon who's being replaced. And so Dunn goes to the top of the attack. O'Shea, no substitute. He still is out there in midfield now. Casella over at left wing. So plenty of fresh legs up top for St. George. At the back, though, is where they have to be worried, as Cyrus Demi was looking to get behind. So that's 3 substitutions already used, and still none for Olympic. O'Toole to deliver. He's had a few goes at this corner. There's numbers around the penalty spot. They go towards the 6-yard area. Up goes Siren. 2 hands to it. It falls for Armson. Back into the mixer it goes. He can only punch though. Here is Parkhouse. Shot on goal, and it's a beauty from Parkhouse. How sweet did he catch that? And round 1, we've already got one for the highlight reel on that sweet left foot of Adam Parkhouse. It just sat so beautifully, and he struck it so well into the side netting. Nothing Siren could do about that. And from our angle up here in the stand, it just seemed destined for goal from the moment it left his boot. And a true captain's goal from the Olympic number 11. That is something of real quality. Four goals to his name last season. He's already picked up 1 in 2025. And he'll do well to score 1 better than that. An Olympic lead for the first time in this game. Demi has Clark with him, looking to find Parkhouse again. And that time, Brown is back there to track things back, and the Olympic crowd feeling their side a bit more now. Liking the look of what they're seeing. O'Toole. David Michelli will be disappointed with how his side have looked coming out of the break. Especially after making those changes. You'd think with his side making 3 and Olympic making none, they might have the upper hand in trying to swing momentum, but it's seemingly done the opposite. Danaskos looking to take it all on his own, and that had a bit more power behind it as well. And Gibson was forced into action, and Danaskos is calling for his side to lift. Still plenty of time, over 20 minutes to go. O'Shea. Kalajiru. Along the ground it goes. Dunn turns and shoots. And not enough power behind that shot to really worry Jack Gibson. We'll see how Olympic approach this game. Last season they were really known for being inconsistent in matches and dropping points needlessly. We'll see if they're able to close this one out at home against the side they lost both times to last season. Qual does well to bring it under his side's control. He'll have to stretch for that one though. Gordon. Casella and O'Toole go up for it. There's Qual again. He's been playing very well. 10 Qual. Had a real great season last year from the Wanderers Academy. His quality was certainly known, but what was unexpected was how many goals he was able to score at the end of the season. And now Olympic will go to the bench for the first time. Labano Halidi will bring on new signing Dylan Ruiz-Diaz. He replaces the goal scorer Seth Clark, and this is one to really be excited for the fans of the NPL and Sydney Olympic. Dylan Ruiz-Diaz, the former Mariner, comes well travelled via Londiro FC in the Brazilian third tier on loan, previously of Juventude in the Uruguayan second tier, Sportis Lachoa and Wisla Puławy in the Polish second tier, and that's all at 23 years old. Maybe been to 4 countries outside of Australia and now finds himself back in Olympic, trying to prove himself maybe with eyes of getting back into the A-League. For the 23-year-old two-time Ollie Roo. Olympics depth is certainly something to be admired. Labano Halidi will be hoping his side can use it to close out the game, as here is Sunday Yona. Has stayed on side, kept it in, but unable to latch onto it the second time. Now it's maybe Olympics' turn to take the sting out of the game a little bit. The third goal is certainly on the cards here. And the way they were able to cut open the defence for their first was really impressive, and then you have to admire the individual quality of Adam Parkhouse on that second goal. His 6th season at Sydney Olympic now, after joining from the Wellington Phoenix. Now captains the side after Roy Donovan retired. Big question with Olympic was whether they were going to really replace O'Donovan's output. It's hard to replace a player that was notching up 20 goals a season. And with 2 goals already in this game, they seem to have no trouble without him. Now 10 Qual has an opportunity from a set piece, and maybe a bit too deep to shoot. He can hit them though, 10 Qual. Maybe asking the numbers just to whip around the back post. It's only 2 in the wall here for Mackenzie Siren. Not too worried about the shot on goal. We'll see what 10 Qual does here. A third may as well seal it potentially here for Olympic. Now they make their run. Qual goes for the shot. Had Siren interested. He didn't stay out of the way though. He had to palm it away out for a corner. Now Olympic will continue their great second half display here. They've done well in the last 15-20 minutes to play almost exclusively down this end of the pitch. As Ruiz-Diaz puts this one into the mix. 10 Qual is there at the back post. Will that be another corner? Yes, it will. Coming off the back of the St. George defender as Qual is at the back post. That's not the first time we've seen that corner routine, the overhit back post corner, looking for the knockdown. It's so dangerous when you have players that can win that first ball. Now it's Parkhouse's turn to deliver. Again, they go back post. Gordon is there. Couldn't quite wrap himself around it, and that'll roll away for an easy St. George goal kick. Calageru looking for Dunn. Oh, it's a mistake at the back there by St. George. They don't pay for it just yet. And Sunday Yona will be thinking about that one again and again. Had the goal at his mercy and couldn't find the target for what would have been a certain equaliser. A mix-up at the back between Gordon, Gurditch and Gibson. And Thomas Dunn couldn't convert the one-on-one, and as it fell to Sunday Yona, just had to put it on target there, but I think it was just a little bit behind him. He was at reach and off balance. And on his St. George debut, couldn't find the important equaliser. Gibson sends it into the stands. That'll have to be collected by an Olympic fan. Qual. Now Demi, this is where he can be a bit more dangerous, but again, that's good sweeper keeper work there by Siren. O'Toole. Here is Ruiz Diaz. Quick feet to try and find Demi, but couldn't find him. And now Danaskos can race away. Here is Sunday Yona again, looking to maybe make amends. Has the speed to get past a couple of defenders. It's the veteran smarts of Gordon that beats out the youthful exuberance of Sunday Yona. Go all the way back to Siren. St. George have 15 minutes to try and get an equaliser and maybe more. Rodic. Armstrong has picked it up here and now can maybe have ideas of launching it to Demi. Siren's well off his line here. Would take something special. He's maybe 5 metres or so outside his 18-yard box. O'Toole looking back to Parkhouse. Already on the score sheet. Parkhouse again. A looping ball back post. No one's there to attack it though. Falls back to Diaz, but had it taken off his toes by Antonio. And Dunn. Pass was read by Tanquol, and Olympic can resume their control of possession. You just see Olympic having a preference for more patient style of play here. Substitution is coming for St. George after that one's launched out of play. Substitutions also being prepared by Olympic. So for St. George, that was number 16, just came on. That man is Caden Wright. Now here comes that double sub for Olympic. It'll be Michael Vakis coming on. Cyrus Demi makes way. Also coming on for Olympic is Yanni DePizio. He replaces the goal scorer Adam Parkhouse, who receives plenty of applause. And again, the depth of Olympic is really admirable here. Bringing on Yanni DePizio and Michael Vakis, two players that were exceptional for them, two young players as well. And two players that'll be keen to take another step off after making their way into the first grade side last season. O'Toole. Oh, that is fantastic by Connor O'Toole, showing his A-League quality there. He's still got plenty of football ahead of him, Connor O'Toole, just 27 years old. He can be a key player for Olympic for a number of years, especially with the second division on the horizon. And so Ruiz Diaz now lines up on the left wing. Michael Vakis over on the right wing, and Yanni DePizio in midfield, which actually means that Ten Quol is now playing as a striker. So Cyrus Demi comes off. His debut rather quiet, but still showed flashes of what could be. You'd think between him and his likes of Jack Armstrong and the other new signings, once they really start gelling, those passes that were misplaced, runs misread, will start to connect a bit more. Gordon clears away only as far as Calageru, but there's a foul in the build-up. And we're just under 10 minutes to go. It's Olympic who firmly in the driver's seat right now. Olympic, can they stave off St. George? Can they get that all-important win to start the season? They actually lost their first game of the season here last year against Hills United. Hills had 10 men on that day. So a win on the first game, a sign of a better season to come. They still have plenty of time to try and hold out though. St. George won't go quietly. As Wright keeps the attack alive with O'Shea and Antonio. He was the intended target of that Danaskos pass, but it's broken up, and Ruiz Diaz has Michael Vakis racing away on that right wing. Holds up momentarily, then finds the shot. And that's too close to Mackenzie Siren. Done. And this is good for St. George. There's Antonio, cries of handball. And Antonio is irate with the referee there. If it did struck the hand of Ziggy Gordon, it must have been close enough to his side. Vakis shows good skill there and good perseverance, but ultimately loses in the end. Certainly looked like at an initial glance it hit the side or arm of Ziggy Gordon. Must have been close enough to his body. By Antonio was convinced it should have been a penalty. They've already had one goal disallowed. That was in the opening minute. That was for a foul on the keeper. And they would only go and score 2 minutes later to make it seem like a moot point. But with the game as it is right now with St. George trailing, there'll be certainly plenty to talk about after the game as Gordon has to deal with that bouncing ball. And time is ticking down here for St. George. See if another sub might be coming here for Olympic. It looks like it is. Thomas Whiffen, signed from SFC Opava in Czechia. He'll be making his Sydney Olympic debut. He's from Sydney, coming back to try and get some more first-team footballers. Now Sunday Yona trying to make a difference off the bench, rising over the bar. And Liddy just holds off on that sub for a moment. Is it coming now? So Thomas Whiffen didn't get all that much game time in his overseas move with SFC Opava. Only had 6 league minutes between now and July. Played a couple times in the Cup. The former Sydney United junior. Making the switch across to Olympic as he's come back now. It'll be difficult to get into this team, especially in this midfield with the likes of McElhatton, Quoll and Armson. Dunn dropping it short for Antonio. Now Casella, good pass here for Dunn. And well, that was a good opportunity there for St. George. It was well crafted by Jada Casella to slide that pass across to the penalty spot. And Dunn just really needed to back himself and put a bit of power behind that strike. In the end, it was all too easy for Jack Gibson. Another chance goes away from St. George. O'Toole fakes to clear it. Ends up conceding the throw. Whiffen is still waiting to come on. Yona's touch was a little heavy. It's put back towards the centre of the pitch. Gordon says anywhere will do. And now here is Troy Danaskos. This is maybe another good opportunity building. Dunn went down, wanted the penalty, but there was no real support for his appeal. And Olympic might be getting set to just dig in here and try and hold out this 2-1 lead that they do have. Here comes that substitution. So on comes Thomas Whiffen. It looks like Jack Armson is making his way after a productive but quiet by his standards Sydney Olympic debut. Again, like Cyrus Demi, may take a bit of time integrating into his new side. A couple times you could see when he'd make a run or when he'd set up a pass, just wasn't on the same wavelength as a couple of his teammates, but no doubt that is something that will only get better as the season goes on, as here is Thomas Whiffen. Yona tried to split the gap but couldn't. And just a couple minutes or so of regulation time remaining. You'd think we'd have plenty of additional time after that series of stoppages where Chan Yel Chan was down and then Rodic was down for a cramp. We've had a couple of subs, a goal as well. St. George still in this game. They're not out of it by any means. Good opportunity brewing. O'Shea couldn't get it back onto his right foot as he wanted to curl that away. Olympic have 9 behind the ball for now. Looking to try and make it a winning start to the season. It's important they get off to a winning start. After missing out on the finals last year, get these fans on side. Good play out towards Sunday Yona. Has Calageru flanking him. Yona thought he was a bit more inside the box than what Calageru actually was. But they keep possession here with Wright. Low and driven. Antonio's able to pick it up. O'Shea tries to loop one in, but that's easily taken again by Jack Gibson, who'll be hoping for more of the same. Oh, Calageru gambled. He might pay the price. Ruiz Diaz charging towards the box. Here is Whiffen. Out wide for Tang Quoll in this more advanced position now, playing as the striker. Has that taken a deflection? It has. And Tang Quoll has won his side a very valuable corner. As we're into the 90th minute of play now. Comes the delivery. It's Whiffen who puts it in. Punched away by Siren, brought down again by O'Toole. Evades the challenge of Antonio. In it comes again, it's flicked on. And Gurditch wanted the corner, felt that his header had a second touch on the way through, and now this right side is voluntarily exposed with O'Toole out of position. Now Yona is on the charge, but Zoricic does well to track back. Yona has to keep it in. That wasn't rolling out of play just yet. Oh, just a mix up there by O'Shea and Calageru. Into stoppage time now. As mentioned, we don't have a fourth official, so we're at the full discretion of the referees here. Casella looking to turn provider. His cross was well blocked by Gianni DiPizio. A corner for St. George. Just about everyone getting into the box here. Our throw numbers are trying to get this equalizer. Casella to deliver. It's dangerous enough. It's in a good area. It's punched away by Gibson under heavy pressure. As Yona recycles it back out wide. Casella will have a second go at it. Has Michael Vakis for company in front of him and Yanni DiPizio. Danaskos, the throw. Opts to go quickly. O'Shea has found a bit of space here. And options were lurking, waiting. Thomas Dunn and company were there. Danaskos again towards the back stick he goes. And Thomas Brown too strong in the back of Connor O'Toole. You could see how badly he wanted that equaliser. He threw himself trying to get not even just his head, but just his body onto the ball to try and bundle it over the line. And you think that might take a bit more time off the clock here from a Sydney Olympic perspective. O'Toole and Brown are both down here. Connor O'Toole not getting a soft introduction into the NPL. As we might just take this moment to update you on the scores around the grounds. Sydney United and Sutherland, they're at a 2-2 draw. Spirit and Sydney also at 2-2, and at Apia and Wollongong, that one's at 1-1 at half time. Jack Stewart's penalty cancelled out by Lockie Scott's first half goal. And Sydney United actually made a late comeback against Sutherland. Goals in the 87th and 92nd minute have them at 2-2 in stoppage time. So great escape there by United at home. Could St. George pull off something similar here? They've not got a lot of time to work with to try and rescue a point after leading after 3 minutes here. There'll be some time added on, you'd think, for this lengthy stoppage. St. George are down to 10 men for the time being as they chase this game. Dunn gets to it ahead of Gordon, but it's to no major benefit as Gibson will be able to come out and clear for touch. Brown is back out there for St. George, but he doesn't look the best, I'll tell you that. St. George looking for any way to find an equaliser. Scoreboard is off here at 94 minutes gone. Maybe 2 or 3 left for St. George to find one, and Olympics secure the 3 points. Calageru now shapes to cross. It's a good ball in, but it's far too close to Jack Gibson, who claims that a round of applause from the Olympic fans. O'Shea tries to track it down. St. George looking to keep the pressure going, but Vakis has broken away. Will he head for the corner or will he look for the dagger? Vakis running at his man, trying to get the other side. And they'll roll away for a St. George corner. How much time is left for them? Is there enough for one more attack? They go long, they go route one, but again it's Gibson. And he drops to the floor. Taking more time off the clock. Check of the watch for the referee. It's allowed to bounce here by St. George. That might invite trouble. As Whiffen collides with Siren. St. George, again they go route one. Again it's won by Olympic in the air. Vivakis competing with Danaskos. Picked up by Antonio. Can he provide the difference? Back it goes to the St. George defense. Another wave for Olympic to deal with. For St. George to try something. Pass just under hit towards Calageru. Right. Can't beat Whiffen to it. That'll be a St. George throw. Do they launch this one long? Back they go. Another check of the watch from our official. Into the 96th minute of play here at Belmore. Be another throw. Casella goes quick. Sunday Yona gets past his man, but the flag is up. That'll be a goal kick. And that might just be it. Into 97 minutes now at Belmore. Have Olympic done enough to get off to the season on a winning start in a season where they'll aim to get back into finals for the first time since being crowned premiers in 2022 off the back of that stunner from Adam Parkhouse. It's a winning start for Olympic, exactly what they would have wanted. Adam Parkhouse's second half goal, a beauty at that, is the difference. St. George showed plenty of promise though. They led after just 3 minutes, but were ultimately unable to hold on to the lead as the game went on. Sydney Olympic were just too good in the second half. And a very tight round one contest comes to a close with 3 points for Sydney Olympic. St. George will look back on some missed chances and some key moments that might have gone their way instead, but they'll be able to take certainly some positives from this one. It's not all doom and gloom for them. I've been Will Constantinidis. It's been an absolute pleasure bringing you round one action from Belmore Sports Ground. We'll see you back again later tonight. Plenty of NPL action still going on, including our match of the round between Marconi and Blacktown City. You can catch that all on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. So from Belmore, wishing you all a good afternoon.